So, Assalamu alaikum and good evening. So, as you can see, I'm still in my work attire. Uh, yeah, this is the post that I was talking about, that I'll be talking about autism and how it plays a big part of my life right now, or why is it so big in the first place. So, first of all, it's 2nd April, so it means that it's World Autism Awareness Day. But as a whole, April is World Autism Awareness Month. And to show support and acceptance, we wear blue, the color of autism. Yeah. And the symbol is actually the ribbon is a jigsaw puzzle. And today I'm also wearing Mustarix. Shout out to Mustarix for the pin. It's really it has a significance, like why it's a jigsaw puzzle, why it's blue, why 24. So it all relates to ASD basically. So where do I start? I wasn't interested in autism or ASD since a long time ago. Macam not from the beginning of time. It's just the first encounter with the term just the term would be back when I was watching this Indonesian movie called Love. So for those who have watched Love, it's a 2008 movie. It revolves around five different stories, and one of them would be a story about a couple who has an autistic daughter. So that time I didn't know what autism was. I don't know what it is, but all I know that it affects mainly or commonly children. And I have always been intrigued and interested in children, so I like kids basically. But back then I don't know how to deal with kids, or when I just say I like kids. Previous relationships both had one sibling with autism, but one was a girl, one was a boy. And I mentioned that the girl seemed, people would assume that she's typical. This is because I made a presentation during my attachment back in 2014. I made a presentation on my study on extreme male brain theory by Simon Baron-Cohen. He's very famous for his studies on autism, but I am not updated. This is based on what I remember. So autism, it affects 1 out of 4, and the ratio between boys to girls is 1 out of 4. So that's high prevalence in a way. Yeah. So it's more common in boys and in girls, and it has something to do with Baron-Cohen's extreme male brain theory, saying that male brains tend to be more systematic and girls' brains tend to be more emotional. And that's why one of the common characteristics of individuals with autism is their restrictive behavior and rigidity, and always wanting to follow routines. Okay? And then autism, based on the module that we learned about the triad of impairment. That's what it was called, which with these 3 big criterias, a person adult could be considered having ASD. So behavioral deficits, communication difficulties, and then social interaction deficits. Communication and social had its differences back then, but based on current research that I've done, there's only 2 now: social interaction deficit and behavior. I don't know when that changed, but I just found out when I was preparing for my workshop last school holiday. So the next encounter with autism was back in MS, when Smarter was giving a talk. I don't remember what the occasion was that time, but I remember it was from Smarter, and trying to educate us, the younger generation back then, on what autism is. So I remember getting interviewed that time. I didn't want to because belum ada confidence, but the interviewer asked me, so what did I understand about autism? So I said, based on the slides or on the presentation, autism was, it it affects, I didn't know how to explain it. I'd say development, behavior, that's what I got, but I still didn't know what it was. It was still very vague for me at that time, but the interest is still there. Then, this post will involve a lot of throwbacks and a lot of mentions of people from the past. So bear with me. Oh, then I had, a cousin. Well, back then I didn't know she had ASD lah, but apparently she is diagnosed with ASD. When I knew that when I was in my, before UK kala, I was in pre-university, and I've always, I liked being around her because she's again a child, she's a kid, and I would always be excited whenever I see her. It's fine. And then, it never occurred to me that even when I knew she had ASD, and it didn't change much. But again, another encounter with autism. Okay, but I still didn't know much about it that time. You would say that I could Google or whatnot, but I didn't understand what it was back then. I really didn't. Then so my cousin, to macam an overview lang, my cousin, she went to Rising Star School, the place I'm currently working at, and she and her mom was the reason, my aunt adalah the reason why I knew of the school, and I got how I joined the team, I was introduced and whatnot. So I owe it to them lah, basically a lot. I owe a lot to them. Okay, then coming back, so I had one of my partners, past relationships lah, my latest, second latest. So when you're friends with somebody, you wouldn't immediately know about their family. Oh, actually, my third latest relationship, sorry. Again, you wouldn't immediately know about their families. But this partner, I knew him, we were together back in Form 6 lah, basically. And he had 2 sisters. One of them was my junior. And then the other sister, whenever I ask him about her, he doesn't really know what to say. Macam he says that, oh ya macam umuran cuma ni, tapi ya punya pemikiran cuma ni. So I didn't know what it was that time. I mean, neither would he probably, because the parents don't tell him. But then I wouldn't lie when I wouldn't lie. I thought about that particular condition. I thought about autism, but I didn't want to, mention it, because for myself, I didn't even know it back then. Didn't know much. But then fast forward, one day, he, to the point where he got sensitive whenever I asked him about the sister nila. The sister is around that time 10 or maybe less, I don't remember. So anyway, he tends to get sensitive and macam I don't want to talk about it, until one day I asked the other sister, my junior to, then rupanya the sister has autism. So I asked him, did you know that your sister has autism? And he said he had no clue. But the parents didn't tell him, or maybe he didn't macam belum terklik lah that time. So it kind of made sense why her behavior and mental age and whatnot, it finally fell into place. I've met the sister a few times, but then you would see the sister as normal or typical lah, macam dia ada autism though. You need to know why. Okay, I'm gonna talk about autism and I think after this lah, an intro, when I really started to know what autism is. And then she looked normal, probably very mild lah. So that was my second person I met yang ada autism. So again, the partner after that, I didn't know about his family and whatnot, but again, he had a sibling with autism, but this time it's a brother. So makin kuat lah. I can say that my interest towards ASD ini makin kuat just because of that lah, because of my curiosity, or macam it's just my system. Yes, I could Google it, I could have just done a lot of research about it, but I didn't. Macam, or maybe that's just me as a person. I'm not the kind who would really dive into something back then. I'm interested, it sticks, then I think about it a lot. When I'm really curious, then I will look it up. I did a few times, but it was still, again, very vague, like I said. And then I got quite attached. But I don't meet the brother a lot. He was under 15 years old at that time. I didn't meet him a lot, but whenever I meet him, I would always, approach him, and kadang-kadang he would approach me, and I would just sit there, and, if you know a person who has ASD, regardless of their age, you would know how they would behave. Macam, to put it simply, kadang-kadang it can get awkward, like just sitting there quietly, but, comfortable silence, as somebody would say. Okay? So, yeah. So I knew him. I met my partner that time was first year of uni. So, okay, that was 2011. Okay? And then in 2014, during my final year, I took this module for my psychology. Oh yes, I took psychology, neuroscience and psychology back in university. So for one of my modules in third year psychology, it was studies on autism spectrum disorder. So that was the first time I actually heard of the word autism spectrum disorder, because before this you only hear it as autism disorder, autistic disorder, and then there was a reason. Okay, apparently in 2013 they changed the diagnostic manual from DSM-4 to DSM-5. So this is me talking about ASD lah, in a very briefly. So DSM-4, well, there are a few other conditions that fall under ASD, under the spectrum. One of them is autistic disorder, and then there's Tourette's or Rets, and then PDD. Oh, sorry, bukan PDD, the rapper. And another famous one would be Asperger's. Okay, and then they changed the manual. So back then, each of these, they were very distinct lah. Like anyone who had these criteria would fall under this condition, and so on and so forth. But then once ASD was introduced, the umbrella term, everything was put under one condition. So if you have, like kalau dulu, you were diagnosed as Asperger's, but then in this year, using DSM-5, you'll just be diagnosed as ASD, basically. So there's no specificity, you could say. Like, regardless of your severity, you'll all be diagnosed as someone with ASD. So that's basically how I got into this ASD, how ASD got into my life lah. Okay, then with my cousin, and then I had a cousin with ASD, and then I have one nephew who was diagnosed with ASD as well. And funnily enough, I don't meet that cousin often, so I don't meet my nephew often as well. But funnily enough, I bumped into them when I was visiting my my then workplace, which is the Rising Star School. Okay, I'm jumping from one story to another, so I hope you bear with me. So after degree, after my attachment, job hunting and whatnot, I couldn't find a job. So my aunt, going back to my aunt, she suggested I applied to Rising Star, which I did twice. First time, I didn't get any news. Second time, I went with her and I met one of the therapists there. Hello to you if you're watching this. So after that day, I got an interview that Saturday with boss and the therapist. So, and I were to start, immediately in a way. So wow, my first proper job that time. I don't have a lot of job experiences. That was my first. It was back in 2016. But I only worked there for 6 months. 6 months because I was planning to join SEAP as well. And that was also, that's another different story, basically, SEAP pato. That was another different story. And then like, yeah, 6 months. I didn't think that I would last the first month because satu, as much as I love kids and I was interested in autism, I did not have the mental readiness or physical readiness to actually deal with what's coming that time. So there were a lot of times where I would get stuck. Yeah, dealing with kids I'm okay. It's just being a teacher. Again, being a teacher was something new to me too. So I wasn't, okay, one, not confident in dealing with tantrums or meltdowns. Two, I wasn't confident in being a teacher. But my drive, you know, because I like kids and ASD, it was that way, that time, enough for me to stay and willing to help the kids lah. And these kids, they actually helped me more than I helped them. I mean, I learned more from them than you would expect. Like, for one, patience, cliche, but it really taught me a lot. Like, being with them, it taught me a lot about patience and perseverance and, in a way, love, unconditional love. So I'm gonna talk about 2016 and then 2018 punya, my rising star experience lah. So back in 2016, I only worked for 6 months, and I was paired with 3 boys, 1 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. So the morning one, it was in a way by default because he was new. I'm gonna, you know, mention names in the end lah. So he was new that time in a way, so I got him because I was new as well. And then he was, you know, the tiniest among them. I felt that he didn't like me initially because, you know, he would give me looks lah, like, and he wouldn't, in a way, cooperate that time. But, you know, that was, you know, me in the first day, first week lah. But as days passed, yeah, I learned a lot about him too. You know, I learned what he likes, what he doesn't like, and then advices from his mom, his parents lah, kadang-kadang, like, they give me updates on what he does at home, then they ask for updates on what he did in school. So we tried to make it consistent lah, in a way. So tried to use rewards and whatnot, like similar, so that he would actually do the task better. I mean, I didn't have much problem with him that time though. It's just trying, the parents punya goal that time was wanting him to verbalize. One of them, from what I really remember, is they want him to talk, to speak. Okay, and then this boy, he was actually the first ever child that I ever had to potty train. That's one of my most significant memories with him, besides being the tiniest. And a lot of injuries back then. Yeah, I mean, yeah, getting injured on my watch, and me getting injured because of Kalayamara. But enough about that. So toilet training, we do toilet trainings in school as well. So it was really hard for me, and to the point I got really frustrated. Macam, I don't blame the child, of course. It's not the child's fault. I mean, I felt like I wasn't doing my job right that time in terms of toilet training, because it never worked. Like teaching him like writing or classroom tabletop activities, those were fine. But toilet training, days passed, weeks passed, months passed. Every time we go to the toilet, I would usually bring him for 5 to 10 minutes just to make him understand what the purpose of the toilet is. But usually during those times he would just cry and scream. He doesn't really move around, but marah lah, get really upset, and you know, I couldn't take the crying. Kasihan, rawanati. And this one day I was really frustrated lah. You know, it's like I feel like I was being too hard on the kid, on the child. And then sampai to the point my colleagues, kids punya toilet is right next to our classroom, to the point where one of my colleagues that time cakap, sabar saja, it will take time, you know. Yeah, and for SPED class, we also do a one-to-one kind of concept, but then in a classroom setting. I know it's hard for some people to imagine, and it is still hard for me to explain how we do our job, how I do my job. But yeah, so there's one teacher to 1 or 2 students. Yeah, and there's like 5 of us in that room. You know, adjusting myself. You know, I was sick for the first month now when I was working there. Not because these kids, it's easy for them to slisma, kadamam apa. And then our classroom is quite small, and there's like a lot of kids job. So, and then I was new with the environment and with all the screaming and sometimes the tantrum and whatnot, the high-pitched sensory stimulation and whatnot. It was something really new for me as well. Achievement. I was really sad to leave in 2016, but I decided to pursue Kapal Blia lah, because it took half a year job for preparation. I didn't regret taking Kapal Blia. And then in January, and also because I wanted to pursue masters in teaching, unexpectedly, you know, I wouldn't have thought that I would see myself doing a teaching degree. But I did. Teaching education lah, basically like a pathway in teaching. But I did in January. As soon as I finished Kapal Blia in December, in January, I started my postgraduate. Yeah, it's due to my experiences at Rising Star that I decided to be a teacher. You know, it might not be easy. I wasn't bonded to be a teacher. I wasn't offered any postgraduate programs, but I voluntarily applied despite what people say about the course being very demanding. You're a student and teacher at the same time because we have to go for placements. And yes, it did feel very heavy on my shoulders lah, because we had to go to schools to teach, like legit teaching, lesson plans and whatnot, even though it's just for 4 months. But I was a novel teacher. I did not have any teaching experience at all except Rising Star. But for MTeach, I chose primary education. You know, ngamla, I chose primary education because I wanted a different audience, a different a group of people. So I don't regret it anyway. I don't regret it either, like taking MTeach primary education, because we had a lot of subjects to learn compared to secondary, but secondary might have their own challenges lah. So yeah, after MTeach, so I thought about rejoining Rising Star. I wasn't confident, like I wasn't even sure that they would accept me back, but it was in my head lah, basically. Okay, I would join Rising Star again if they wanted me back. That's what I thought. That's all I had in mind, because during my MTeach period itu kadang-kadang I have been getting texts juga kadang-kadang to ask whether I'm free to relieve, which I couldn't. I never did. I really wanted to, but I couldn't, because Saturdays would be, usually they ask on Saturdays, but then Saturdays, UBD, we have classes. If we're not in schools, we're in schools Monday to Thursdays every day, and afternoon we would have extra classes at UBD, like replacement classes or group meetings. And then Saturdays would be full day at UBD. So they weren't kidding when they said it's packed lah, UBD punya. I'm teaching it, but I never regretted anything. I never had unnecessary breakdowns, or any breakdowns for that matter. That's a different story. Kapal Blia was a different story as well. And then after MTeach, well, I wasn't even finished yet, but after, you know, finishing my RE, research exercise or thesis, belum lagi submission ta, it wasn't even submission date yet, it was in May. I got a text from my previous former colleague, asking if I would want to relieve. Then I said, okay, I'm finally free from any workload or assessment, so why not? I mean, it's been a while since I've been to Rising Star to teach. I've been dropping by before that, but I never went in sped class lah again that time. Then okay, I started shadowing a colleague that time because she was gonna I was relieving her lah, and then I were to take care of her kids. There were 3 of them from 2016 who were still in sped class in 2018, so it was really good to see familiar faces. Yeah, even colleagues changed lah basically, like yang stay pun kaumi kali saja till now. Kaumi, yeah, you were there from 2016 till now. It's really good to see a familiar face, someone I'm familiar with in the classroom, and then the kids. So afternoon was a new kid lah. I mean, someone new to me. But okay, those were okay. Like I only relieved for like a few weeks, a month, a few weeks basically. Okay, then I was supposed to relieve during the period yun adalah, but then I was asked me if I want to stay longer. It was the holidays coming after that anyway. I was asking macam, do you still require me to be in school? Then she said, why not just stay. So I was an extra hand basically. There were no kids for me yet. I wasn't paired with anyone yet once my colleague datang balik doon. But some of the teachers, they had 2 kids that time. So I took one in the morning and one in the afternoon. These 2 kids, they were from 2016, and I decided to take them because I was familiar with them. Even though back then, I was really scared to deal with them. Basta kalau dorang tantrum, I wouldn't know what to do. Because I don't want to be too forceful, because I'm the kind of person yang macam pemajal jenisnya. And dulu back then I had less understanding lah. Okay, but I chose them, and I was so macam overwhelmed lah to see their progress. Even the one that I relieved, he was from 2016. Jo kan 3 of them. Yeah, 3 of them. 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon. So I was overwhelmed to see their progress. When I was there, they were different. They were, I would say, challenging, really challenging. Not just behaviorally, but also when it comes to academics. But then when I'm the one yang placed to be their teacher, I didn't have a choice but to go through it. And alhamdulillah, like, it wasn't all bad lah. It's still a learning process for me, and I really appreciate being given that opportunity to work with these kids, these 3 kids. Okay, we even have inside jokes. Macam itulah. And then these 3 kids in 2019 January, they have gone up to KG2. Ya Allah, it's such a big thing, so no more 2016 kids. And I was really happy, sad and happy at the same time. Sad because no more, I won't be around them as often. I still see them, but it's not the same. So it's basically knowing how to get their attention, and then using what they know or what they have or are capable of to my work. It's not about forcing them. Kadang-kadang we do have to be firm, but then we need to find that fine line lah. Find that fine line, basically. So yeah, that's basically my sharing regarding ASD in it. And yeah, so it started off with my cousin. Her name is Hazira. She's currently, I think, 12 kali sudah now, because she was 9 in 2016. So 12 probably. And she transferred to DES, but attending therapy in Rising Star back in 2016. Tapi because of her age, she attended DES lah. Tapi therapy masih sana. Then after DES, she went to Pusat Ehsan last year. Okay, Hazira. And then because of one of my past relationship punya sister, Siti Nurul Nazirah, or we called her Yayah lah. Yayah. And then the third one was my other relationship punya sibling, Ahmad Qisthi. Okay, Ahmad Qisthi, YHD's brother. But Ahmad Qisthi passed away in 2018. Yeah, so I didn't spend much time with him, but I managed to go on a trip with his family one time, and that's the only time that I got to spend some time with him without the parents worrying too much. Okay, so Ahmad Qisthi, the late Ahmad Qisthi. And then my nephew at Fayette, or they call him Coco Fayette. I don't see him often, but it was really a surprise for me to see him in SPED class. But when I came back in 2018, he was already transferred to KG3. So, alhamdulillah, it didn't take him that long to be in SPED. So, meaning he's about, in a way, a fast learner. He developed very quickly, improved a lot at a very short time. Okay? And then, Ahmad Irfan, watched his nephew, Ahmad Qisthi's nephew as well. So Ahmad Irfan, that little boy is really close to my heart, even till now, because I mentioned it being a past relationship kan, but some people still stay in my life lah. Ahmad Irfan is one of them. He's really dear to me. And he's turning 5 this year. I was there when you were born, okay? Okay, Ahmad Irfan. Then my rising star kids. So back in 2016, I was paired with Afi in the morning. Afi, the little boy, yang lincah also. He's now in KG3. Oh my gosh, when I came back, there was... He's taller, definitely. And he was able to do a lot of things. Dia makin pintar lah. But then there was that rigidity that I wasn't able... I didn't witness back then lah. So I don't know. But it's getting better. I'm sure he remembers me, I hope. Because when he sees me, he's okay, comfortable in a way. Even though I don't see him often. And Afi. And then afternoon would be Ehsan. He graduated last year. When I came back, he was in KG3 as well with 5 years. Macam, Ehsan mainstream sudah pintar na to. Ya Allah. And then it was Ehsan and Mukri. Before Mukri, I was with Shasha. Shasha transferred to government school now. The last time I saw her was last year. So she was in KG2 last year. And then Mukri. I haven't shared the video. There was a video made for Mukri. And if you guys are watching this till this bit, some of you might actually have watched that video who has been shared by his mother lah, made by Akinari Production. Okay. Mukri was one of my boys as well, and when I came back, he already transferred to government school. But sometimes he would drop by to fetch his sister. So it was so nice of the parents to bawa turun kadang-kadang to, So when we say, hey, Mukri, and then 2018, I was with Dia. Dia was my girl, Dia and Nathan. These two, Dia, Nathan, Saifullah. Saifullah, I was relieving Eileen that time. And Dia, Saifullah, and Nathan, they were there from 2016. Dia, Saifullah in the morning, and Nathan in the afternoon. Still the same. So I took over Dia and Nathan. Dia, back then, she was new. When I came, she joined, I think, the month after, in February or March. And she did not want to do anything. Macam kalau ka nakachao, berteriak, nangis. Payah lah. I would say that time it was really challenging. So I did not want to, in a way, deal with her back then. And Nathan sama jua, if he gets upset, if he gets triggered, he would go tantrums. He would be on tantrum mode, boleh the whole day. And he's very strong. He would kick a lot back then. So last year I took over them. And, it was nice to see how they've progressed. It was amazing. Thank you to the teachers who have been part of their journey, till then. It made my job easier, in a way, but I still have to work for it, like working on other aspects. So, yeah. So, I do miss them. I still see them, but again, it's different lah. Oh, okay. Then the 2 kids that I took over, anak Sidara would be Jojo, my current child, and then Akit. kid jarang sekolah back then. Jarang sekolah because of he has appointments and pasal belayar, and he had an operation juga once. That's why macam ada nun lah, like that period of time where he wasn't in school often, and it's hard to see him progress juga, but slowly. And then there was that one day where he was very clingy to me that one day. Itulah sejak something different from him. Because usually he would be on his own, siwa sendiri and whatnot lah. I didn't mind. Yeah, a kid. It was sad to know that he was transferring because there wasn't any proper goodbye ka apa. It was masa PTM. That was the last time that I saw him. But yeah, but Jojo is still with me because I've been with him since itulah, like masa Dara took over Kashikin and masa Dara took over Kashikin lah, I took over Jojo. So he's been with me till now. So I thought it would be better. Most of us thought that it would be better for me to just continue despite the challenges, but I never wanted to give up on him. Kadang-kadang macam, okay, you are, ujung-ujung sudah, kadang-kadang rasanya, but it's fine. You're doing this for the best of the child. Every day you have to refresh your intention, refresh your niyat. At the end of the day, usually I'll be fine. Okay, you're good, durang indah marah ba? That's the thing. Macam, as harsh as you are ala durang, macam kadang, don't do that. Lah contoh. Macam durang masih aja ketawa-ketawa, like they're still very loving and whatnot. So macam, you can't really get upset over those kinds of people, right? And then, entahlah, I thought that I was really strict enough sudah to Jojo. Pemarah, I'm actually pemarah lah. But then makin yan, it becomes more clingy. So I'm still trying to figure myself out, trying to use that to help with me teaching him. Okay. Then my latest child, Ayman, he joined in January. Very little. First day it was hard for him to adapt. Macam cried the whole day. Tapi that time I haven't took over him lah. So it's just the first day kan. The next day, he went in the classroom himself. Macam now he's really excited to go in the class. Like he knows the classroom, he knows where he sits and whatnot. So macam, oh my gosh, he's a fast learner. Very independent actually. It's just doing tasks. Ito kadang-kadang we need them to do the task according to ada structure lah. But he does it in his own way. I let him, but sometimes during a certain period, lah saja ada duration, but still practicing on how to make him follow that particular structure lah. But it's fun to be around him. He's actually, he likes to run around. As a reward, sometimes we let him run around lah. So we call him si Bebe, pasal dia damit, yang manja in a way. Like, we don't spoil our kids, okay? It's just sometimes, as a reward, we do like loosen up for them. We give them the affection that they deserve in a way. Which, I mean, we are humans after all, and they are humans too, and they are just like us. We all need love and care. Gitu lah. So, yeah, that's me and my kids basically. So that's me and ASD as of now. I did not expect my video to be this long, but for those who have watched this till the end, I am grateful that you did. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it, and I hope that it's added to your prior knowledge of ASD, or it's a different kind of experience in a way. And then I do apologize if I did say anything macam yang salah lah, like unintentionally rude or harsh or uncalled for. I really am sorry, because it's not what I intend to do. I'm just here to share why ASD is such a big thing in my life. So again, so that's update as of today lah. So 2nd April, and April is Autism Awareness Month, so expect more autism related posts or blue posts. I'm doing blue month this month. Blue posts for this month. So until then,